today on What's Next.
We're all put on earth with a little script in our heart and mind that has our passion.
I think sadness comes in when you don't have purpose.
I paddled into a wave and stood up, and then I was hooked.
Hello and welcome back to What's Next. I'm Mark Middleton, beyond anxious today to talk about the power of passion, which is pretty much the fuel that keeps us moving forward in life. It's the light that reveals the path forward. It's the emotion that has pretty much been responsible for all of human progress. And let's start by saying hello to my friends, purveyors of passion all. We've got Cecily Wilson, Bill Schaefer, and Amy Sweezy, per usual. And of course, passion takes an infinite variety of forms. So Cecily, let's start with you. Does passion have a color, at least for you?
I think passion is the color of happiness, right? So whatever happiness looks like to you, whether that is red and bold and fierce, or whether that's black, serious, and whatever that looks like, but whatever passion brings you happiness, that's the color.
What does passion sound like, Bill?
Mark, I'm going to say laughter. Even if your passion isn't, it's something more serious, I think when you do something you love on the inside, you're just laughing like a kid because you're so lucky to get to do it.
Amy, I've seen you at dinner. What does passion taste like?
Well, without a doubt, passion tastes like chocolate. And that's because passion is, something that you love, something you can't get enough of, and chocolate is what I love and can't get enough of.
Bill, I think it was appropriate that you answered the question about sound because you hang out with musicians all the time. Every weekend I see your post from one performance, one venue, one concert, one nightclub after another. And you recently talked to a musician about the power of passion.
Yeah, I think they're some of the most interesting people because they kind of color emotion for a living. My wife is a singer, and I kind of get that from her too. And I want to tell you about somebody else that I just love. Marlon Hoffman is just coming into his prime, finding his niche in the Los Angeles music scene at the age of 68. When you see this guy, his passion is intense. And I think it's because of the unusual path he took. He's done it all. He's lived for a while in poverty. He learned about suffering when he became a counselor for suicide rescue and later for cancer patients because he had a psychology degree, but he loved music more. And when he chose music, that's when he began to understand what it really means to have passion.
And passion I describe as an activity that you're doing where you don't look at the clock. You're not looking at the watch. You just keep doing it and time goes by. That's what we all should be doing, our passions. And we're all put on earth with a little script in our heart and mind that has our passion. And we should always remember what those are and treat those like children, your passion. There's a reason you came here. Every one of us. We're not repeated. There's no repetition of any individual in the history of man. And every one of us, I want to say, comes down here for a reason. It might be just to love one person. It might be to paint one picture or tell one story, whatever it is. But do it. And don't give up. Do not give up. Even if everything around you is just impossibly opposite of what you want and what you think you would like to do, just keep it alive in your mind and in your notes. I think of the great prophets that spent time in jail. They had nothing. They couldn't move, but in their mind and in their hearts.
He's an incredible guy. That's Marlon Hoffman. So thoughtful, so interesting. By the way, he's recording his third album as we speak at the age of 68. Check him out at marlonhoffman.com. But he sure has a way of making you feel like we all need to pursue our passions to fulfill our destiny, our reason for being alive. And Cecily, I'm kind of guessing that struck a chord with you.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Finding your passion. You oftentimes question, why am I here? What is it? And then sometimes you're pushed into your passion. Things happen in your life where you realize, well, I thought my passion was this, but it actually turns out it's this. So it's vital to your existence, finding and knowing and owning your passion.
Yeah, I like that it changes. It's not always necessarily the same thing every decade of your life. I really liked what he said about how we're all unique individuals. So what we bring to the table is different than every single other person. And that's really was kind of an aha for me.
And I think the problem is that you can't manufacture passion. Some people are born with it. The rest of us have to figure out a way to find it. Unfortunately, though, some people never do. And I think the key is to engage with people, to engage with processes, to engage with ideas, to not be afraid to fail. And if you do, as Marlon just told us so eloquently, don't give up. Keep trying.
Society needs to focus on people's ability, not their disability.
It is no secret that we live in an ageist culture, and we've all been programmed, and I mean that literally, into perpetuating it. In general, in fact, the most ageist people of all are older people because we've had a lifetime of exposure to the debilitating ageist messaging that surrounds us constantly. Of course, it's our mission at Growing Bolder to try to change that, and one of the ways we do that is by sharing real-life examples of people who are living outside the boundaries of expectation. Men and women who are smashing the ageist stereotypes. These are ordinary people who are dancing and traveling and working and having fun. They're people that are making a difference in their communities in their 80s and 90s and even 100s. We like to call them our rock stars of aging. It's their examples that can change our belief about what's possible. And recently, Bill chatted to one, 101-year-old Virginia Oliver, the lobster lady who every single day heads out with her 78-year-old son to work their 200 lobster traps.
Well, you got to keep busy. I have to get up at 5:03, and then we have to go and get a bait for the day, and I have to ban the lobsters and measure them, make sure they are legal.
People think that, oh, look, that's an older person. They're not worth much, or get them out of the way. But you show people a different view. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm not going to have them tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to.
And what do you want to do? What's still on your to-do list? Is there anything left undone? Is there any dream that you still have, or are you just taking it one day at a time?
Oh, I just go one day at a time.
Man, I love her smile.
Yeah.
Virginia can do it at 101 years old simply because she believes that she can. And, you know, folks, that's the key to active aging. It's belief. Because whatever is in your mind ultimately winds up in your body. You've heard us say it before. Our psychology drives our physiology. And even if not every part of your body is working perfectly, because that's the story of another remarkable woman, also named Virginia. She's Virginia Jacko, the CEO of the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind. And in fact, she's one of the world's only totally blind CEOs. She was a financial executive when her eyesight began to fail. She was diagnosed with something called retinitis pigmentosa, which meant that she would eventually totally lose her sight. So she came to the Miami Lighthouse for the Blind in 2001 as a client, but she never left. Today, she's 80 years old. She just signed a 5-year extension to remain as CEO, and here's what she told Growing Bolder about her unique journey.
I think sadness comes in when you don't have purpose. I began as a volunteer for 5 months. I fell in love with this mission where I decided I'm not going back to do all of that financial stuff. I want to help the blind. I'm staying in Miami. So I guess maybe it's because I found my purpose. I found my passion. And I did it first by being a volunteer. It just seemed to work out. You know, I was blessed that we had a board of directors that was willing to hire somebody, you know, a little vintage, not too much, totally blind. I worry about seniors that they have to have purpose. And society needs to focus on people's ability, not their disability.
Amen. A 101-year-old crabber and an 80-year-old blind CEO. Incredibly inspiring. And we'll have more in a future episode about Virginia Jacko's amazing, remarkable life. But gang, what do you think? What impresses you the most about these two Virginias? Cecily?
That they're not stopping. I mean, that's it. I mean, they are like, I'm doing what I need to do regardless that I can't see. I still have passion. I still have purpose. I still have a mission. Regardless of how old I am, I'm getting out here crabbing or doing whatever I am doing with these lobsters, and nothing's going to stop me. In fact, they're saying, who's going to stop me? That's the question. Who's going to stop me?
Well, and one of the things I noticed, Mark, you said that Virginia Jacko went to the place in 2001, so that was 20 years ago, which means that she went there when she was 60, and she's 80 now. So it's never too late. She didn't find her purpose and her passion until she was 60 years old. So, don't think that, oh, I'm too old to be passionate about anything, or, oh, purpose is for younger people. It is never too late to find a passion if you don't have one yet.
And you know what else? They're the last two people that think what they're doing is remarkable. They're just being them. They're going where their heart is leading them. And to them, it's not about age. It's not about what she does, out in the ocean with the lobsters. It's just about following your heart, living your life to the fullest, and doing what you can to make a difference in the lives of others. And they're just laying it out there for us. They're saying, folks, here's how to find a fulfilling life. Here's what the Fountain of Youth is all about. And it's just up to us to search ourselves and figure out where our passion is and follow both Virginias right to a beautiful life.
You can be stoked. That highest level of excitement can be done whether you're surfing or not.
We get asked all the time, where can I get some Growing Boulder gear? Do you have merchandise? And the answer, of course, is yes. Just go to growingboulder.com and click on shop at the top of the page. We do have a little shop inside our office for our employees, and I can show you some of the stuff that you can get. We've got great t-shirts. You want a really cool Team GB hat? Why wouldn't you want one of those? You can pick that up. We've got some great mugs, Growing Boulder branded mugs. This is what Growing Boulder looks like, folks. You could pick up one of these mugs. I'm kind of partial to this book because it took me about 2 years to write it. Growing Boulder, Defy the Cult of Youth, Live with Passion and Purpose. This is a good read, folks, even if I say so myself. You can pick up a postcard book. This is really, really popular. All of this stuff is really, really reasonable. Each of these postcards can be torn out of here and then mailed to a friend that needs a little bit of inspiration, and who doesn't need that? So go to growingboulder.com, click on shop, and you can get some Growing Boulder gear.
Welcome back to What's Next. I'm Amy Sweezy. Chris Ross is in his early 50s, but he says that spending time with kids makes him forget how old he really is. Now, he used to be a landscaper, and he would just teach surfing to his son's friends on the side for fun. But he decided to take that passion, and now he teaches surf camps full-time. He shares his passion for the sport to others so that we can all share in what Chris calls the stoke.
I fell in love with the ocean from the first time that I saw it. Like, whether it was on a boogie board, I'm not specific about it, but I know I fell in love at a young age. By the time I was able to drive at 16 is when I caught my first wave, and I remember feeling that stoke. I paddled into a wave and stood up and rode it all the way to the beach, and then I was hooked from there on. Oh, good job. Well, the camp started. Good one, buddy. I was teaching my kids, I was teaching my son, and next thing you know, all his friends are coming around, and then I was like, I'll teach you how to surf. Next thing you know, we're doing competitions, and I started coaching them. And as I was coaching them, I was like, I think I'm on to something here, I think it's really fun. The kids loved it. They were coming in, and then I learned some basic techniques of teaching. Hey guys, you guys want to do a relay race? Yeah! Awesome.
How would you say your camp is different from others?
Well, I know for one thing, I take it to heart. I really enjoy teaching. I don't, if you put it into a money aspect, I don't know if I do it for the money. I do it more for the enjoyment of sharing the stoke that I have. I get a thrill out of sharing that and seeing another student have that stoke.
Explain what stoke is to non-surfers.
So stoke is the highest level of excitement. You can be stoked at any time. A surfer knows that feeling, and you can be stoked. That highest level of excitement can be done whether you're surfing or not. After you catch that wave and you get that stoke, you remember it. I tell my students all the time, when they go back to school, they can be in the classroom or on their lunch break, not during while the teacher's talking, but an environment where they can remember that stoke and share that stoke. They could be in Michigan and remember those waves that they caught in my camps, and then have that stoke and feel it. It's inside that you can feel it. It's almost like undescribable. You're fine. Go ahead, go Helena. I enjoy doing what I do, so if you enjoy it, you never work a day in your life. You know, I don't know who said that, but someone said that. I mean, even if it didn't pay, I'd do it. So I take it to heart. Like, I really enjoy doing it, and anything that I do, I do things with passion. Yeah! Oh, good try. That was great. That was great.
You can see it, you know, in his face. You can hear it in his voice. Following his passion is how Chris just lives his life now. And it really does keep him feeling younger, being around these kids. And so I open the question up to all of you. What is it that you do that makes you feel like a kid again? Bill, we'll start with you.
What did he say? He calls it finding his stoke.
Yes.
I find my stoke on my spoke. Riding a bicycle for some reason, and I don't know why, I think, you know, if I want to overanalyze myself, I think when you're a kid, and I used to ride for hours, right? But it's your first taste of independence, of freedom. I could go anywhere I want, not telling anybody, go to the corner drugstore, you know, go down to the newspaper stand, and even to this day, when I get on the bike and just start riding around, man, I'm that 9-year-old again, just out there checking out the world.
You just don't know that your wife is following you on your phone. She's tracking your phone.
No, she's in the car behind me, making people stay out of the way so I don't get hit.
Cecily, what about you?
Yeah, I think that is playing with my granddaughter Amari. Now, when I'm taking her to the playground, she wants me on the seesaw. She wants me on the swing. She wants me right there in the middle of the action when we're playing dolls. So that is, yeah, that's that moment that makes me feel like a little girl again, and I love it.
We hope you guys are all part of our social media tribe that now numbers well over 1 million. And, you know, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you will find inspiring memes and stories and shares like the answers we received to this most recent question. What personal mantra do you use to help fight obstacles? Wendy Fritas Brown says, everything is temporary. That's a good one. Peter Sykes says, think how it can be done, not how you cannot do it. And Diane Smith says, when you're going through hell, keep going. I love that one as well. Gang, what about you? Amy, what do you got?
You know, this one goes back to my mom, and whenever, you know, there was a struggle, what she always said was, this too shall pass. So we all have struggles, we all have obstacles, but it's going to pass and things are going to get better.
And you know, for me, it's like no matter what happens today, think of life as a TV show. Tomorrow is another episode. Some of them are sad, some of them are funny, some of them are dramatic, and for some of them, you hang out with Gilligan on the island. But tomorrow is always another episode.
Yeah, I have a biblical principle that I live by, and I don't know the exact scripture, but it says that you are more than a conqueror. So whatever you're facing, whatever difficulty, whatever challenge it is, it will not beat you. You are more than a conqueror.
I love all of those. For me, the bold standard of quotes is one that's widely credited to Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, but who really knows, you know? Everybody takes credits for these quotes, but I know you've all heard it. It is be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. And I truly do believe that being bold is the path forward for all of us. And, you know, I love today's show. There are so many important takeaways that have been delivered by, you know, real life examples from Chris Ross and Virginia Jacko and Virginia Oliver and Marlon Hoffman. These are ordinary people living extraordinary lives simply because they chose to do so, and because they were able to somehow believe that more is possible, that they can find their passion if they don't have one, or they can pursue their passion even when faced with seemingly insurmountable obstacles. So think about that stuff, folks, because these are all important pathways to what's next in our own lives. We'll see you next time.